So this is a quick video walking through the report filter feature within Kubit. A report filter can be found across virtually every type of Kubit report, and effectively what they do is limit the entire dataset being retrieved based on the criteria or use case you're looking at. So think of a report filter as the sort of end-all be-all of I only want to see data containing these types of features or associated with these types of users. In Kubit, we have several different kinds of filters that you can apply globally. The first being global filter. This is similar to an Excel when you're trying to filter a table of data and you're saying only return me the rows where the country equals US. A global filter is effectively doing that, limiting the rows based on the criteria that you select. A cohort filter, that's going to be a little bit more sophisticated, and instead of filtering based on the data set, you're actually filtering based on the user's participation in a cohort. So this is actually very unique to Kubit and lets you filter based on behavior rather than just simply the data. The last is a measure filter, which lets you filter the aggregate of a particular measure. This is a pretty special use case and one that I see most often being used when you're looking at ratios or percentages of total, and you want to filter out, let's say, a unique user count that maybe is lower than expected and is kind of skewing the results. In this video, we're going to cover just the global and cohort filter, as those are used most often. A global filter is actually going to let you filter based on the fields available in Kubit. Think of fields like metadata about your events. So in this example, we're looking at the count of purchase subscription events. And in my use case, let's say I'm an iOS specific product manager, so I'm going to filter my data to the app equal to iOS. In Kubit, I can add additional filters with complex and or logic that gives me fine-tuned control to make sure I can filter to exactly what I need. In this case, I also want to filter to, let's say, country, and I only want it to be equal to the US or Hong Kong. When I add multiple values here, you're effectively saying US or, this is not an and condition here. Once I hit confirm, you can see that my filter has been added to the page. And in order to make it materialize on my report, I need to click execute. One thing to be mindful of is every time you change something above this blue button, you're going to have to re-execute because you've effectively just changed the logic of your query. So making sure that your filters are in place, execute, and then you can see your results. So that's the global filter. Again, think of this like filtering a data set within Excel, using those filters at the tops of each of your different rows. If we go ahead and remove that, we can add a cohort filter. Now, like I said before, this one's a bit unique to something like Kubit because you're not filtering based on the data, you're filtering based on the user in this case. In Kubit, we have this idea of a subject, which lets you count specific IDs or identifiers. Typically, we see things like user, device, client, anonymous ID, etc. So this list might look different to you. When I build a cohort, I can basically say, give me all the users who performed, in this case, enable notifications. So now what I'm able to do is filter my number of purchase subscription events to only users who enabled notifications within that same period of time. This can be pretty powerful because now we're filtering based on behavior rather than just raw data. Again, since I've added this cohort filter, in order to see my results, I'll need to re-execute my query. I'll go ahead and get rid of this. And hopefully that was a good tutorial on how to use the different types of filters available within Kubit's report filter. Thanks, and let us know if you have any questions.